Hey 7th graders, today you guys will be working on your review for the test next week. And then after you guys are done with this, we'll go ahead and those of you guys who are finished or don't need more time, we're going to do a little review game. So stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead. I'm just going to walk you guys through the review really quick. Alright, so your learning targets basically for this whole unit are I can explain how a population grows and or decreases in size. I can explain how to change a how a change to a population can directly or indirectly affect another population within a food web, and I can identify community interactions. So that really encompasses competition, predation, and symbiosis, all three of those aspects of symbiosis as well. All right, so moving on. 2 general reasons a population could increase or decrease in size. We've talked about these several times. I really encourage you guys to get help on this if you don't need, but in all honesty, you guys should have, I've said them, mentioned them many times in classes and videos, so hopefully you guys know them, but in general, like if you're talking about predation, what does that mean, okay? If you're looking at decreasing and you have more predation, that could either mean 2 things. The animals are going to move out of that population to get away from the predators, or they're going to get eaten and die, okay? So, I mean, really, if you were to look at predation, what is that really? More deaths than births? And moving away, or emigration, or migration, however you guys want to put it. So I just gave you guys an answer there, but I'm going to let you guys think about how to increase the size. So it's very similar. Okay, if a species has more births than deaths, what will happen to the size of that? These are really quite simple. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and manage these on your own, but you guys are just going to use your draw tool to circle either increase, decrease, or stay the same. Okay, same on this one, increase, decrease, or stay the same. Use your draw tool on that. What kinds of activities would an organism use an energy storage molecule for? There's a lot more than 3, so just give 3 of those, but there's one in particular that we talked about a lot in class with Amplify. What is a consumer population? What is a resource population? So define those 2 for me. Okay, for this one, you guys are going to use this little food web here. I'm going to kind of move this over to the side for you guys a little bit. What is considered the consumer population and the resource population in this food web? These are the only 2 organisms in your food web, so those should be the only 2 that you're providing for answers for these 2 questions. What does the roe deer provide to the lynx, shown by the arrow? So what does this arrow represent? What is he giving to the lynx when the lynx eats him? And then if the roe deer population increases, what would happen to the lynx population? So circle either increase, decrease, or stay the same. And then don't forget to explain why you're going to see that trend. Okay? This is all predator-prey relationship, so this is that same fluctuation that we've been talking about through this whole thing. You know, if our predator increases, or excuse me, our prey increases, we're going to have more predator to eat around. If our predator increases, they're going to eat more, therefore it's going to cause our prey to go back down. If our prey goes down, our predator is going to have less to eat, so it's going to go down. And then if our predator goes down, then again, the roe deer can kind of increase because there's less eating it. So it's all one big cycle and it keeps going forever. Okay, so go ahead and explain that particular part of that cycle. If the lynx population increases, what would happen to the roe deer population? So circle increase, decrease, or stay the same and explain why. Would this change in the roe deer cause a direct or indirect effect on the lynx? So because they are connected by an arrow, your answer should be direct. Okay, there's no organisms in between these 2. What type of community interaction is described by the lynx and roe deer? I just explained that to you guys on the last slide. All right, for this one, you guys are obviously using this more complicated food web than just the lynx and the roe deer. In the food web, what 2 organisms can be considered resource only, so they are only making their own food and getting eaten. Okay? In the food web, what 2 organisms can be considered consumer only, so they're only getting their energy from other organisms, nothing is eating them. Okay? Moving on, you guys are going to use, for these this next 3 questions, you guys are going to use this exact same one. So I couldn't really fit that picture on here and give you guys room to type and make the picture large enough for you guys to see. So you guys will just have to flip back and forth. You guys are looking for 3 different examples where you guys have animals in competition for food. So what are the 2 animals that are competing, and what are they eating? What are they competing for? Okay, so give me 3 examples there. There are more than 3 in this little food web. Okay, moving on for the rest, the next couple questions, you guys are going to be using this food web here. Again, same kind of question with the competition, which 2 are competing and what are they competing for? And then for the rest of these, you guys are going to look, and it might help you guys to kind of use your draw tool and make some notes on this little food web here. If the number of moon jellies decreases, so maybe you guys draw a little down arrow on the moon jellies to show that decrease, what would happen to the number of sea turtles? So you guys are looking at sea turtles. There's only one arrow there, so that would be a direct effect. Okay, and then if the population of sea urchins, so this is kind of its own little food web over here. If the populations of sea urchins decrease, this is normally our consumer, what's going to happen to our kelp? That's a big question mark. There we go. Okay, so again, is that indirect or direct? So use your draw tool for all 4 of these questions here. Nothing to type on that last one. So if you wanted to decrease the number of moon jellies, we want these to go down. How would you change the walleye pollux? Now we're looking at those 2 competing organisms. So if you guys think, all right, I want this to decrease, kind of work backwards. What can I change to this that's going to cause our moon jellies to decrease? And then what can I change to this that's going to cause what happens here, you know? So kind of work backwards from the moon jellies, keeping that in mind. So either circle increase, decrease, or keep the same, and then don't forget to explain why. And then is that an indirect or direct effect? Okay, if the population of walleye decreased, what would potentially happen to the number of sea turtles? So again, work backwards from the walleye to the sea turtles. Don't forget to circle whether you think the sea turtles are going to increase, decrease, or stay the same, and explain why, and then direct or indirect effect there. Okay, same with this one. If you wanted to increase the orca population, what would you do to the zooplankton population? So again, work backwards from the orca, circle increase, decrease, or stay the same to tell me what you would do to the zooplankton, explain why, and then circle indirect or direct effect. Okay, and last question of this manner. If you wanted to increase the algae, so this is different than any you've done before, what change would you make to the walleye pollock population? So again, work backwards from that. If it helps, you guys can just take a guess and be like, all right, I'm going to increase this and what's going to happen, or I'm going to decrease this. So feel free to kind of make notes as you guys go all the way through. Okay, moving on. Indirect or direct, so don't forget to circle, increase, decrease to the same, explain why, and then indirect or direct. All right, moving on from that topic, what are 3 types of community interactions? These are all from your notes. I think it was back when you guys did the critical juncture. You guys also had a little notes section to do on community interactions. If you guys didn't get that done, I would zip back through your assignments and figure out what you missed and where you missed it from, and make sure you guys get it done, because there will be a big portion of the test dedicated to community interactions and symbiosis. Okay, so what are the 3 types of community interactions? Define competition, and what is an example of competition in an ecosystem? There's a lot of examples. We've just gone through a bunch in those food webs from the past 3 examples. Okay, and then what are 3 types of symbiosis? Again, that was from our notes just yesterday. So go ahead and tell me those. Oh, hey, look, they're all right there. Okay, so go ahead and define those. And then really that wraps it up. I'm not going to go through a whole lot of examples with the symbiosis with you guys. If you know what they are, you're going to be able to identify them. Okay? Do you wrap up? Do you have any questions? Circle yes or no. If you guys have any questions, type them in right here. Obviously, if it's something that's stopping you from finishing this assignment, you guys want to let me know right away so I can help you. And then a little bit different, 4, 3, 2, 1 for you guys today. How do you think you're going to do for this test? How prepared do you feel you are? You're going to get pretty high A or 100. 3 is either an A or B, pretty solid there. D, you're going to be really cutting it close with the C or a D. And then I feel like I may fail. Okay, if you guys are circling that 1 and saying I feel like I may fail, what do you need to do to get off of that 1 and get more to a 2, 3, or 4? Okay, so take action there and take responsibility for your guys' education. Finally, great work. Don't forget to hand it in. Don't forget to check through the rest of this to make sure you guys are all done, and let me know if you have any questions. I will talk to you soon.